Hey everybody, welcome to West Coast Weather. Here I'm just going to be doing a general forecast video for the West Coast of the United States and occasionally doing the BC and Alaska coast depending on if their weather is active or not, because I want to focus on the most active weather there is. So I haven't really done much videos like this on the channel other than some hype videos, but I want to start doing these videos on a more regular basis. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. As of today, September 3rd at about 4 p.m., the West Coast is pretty active with some thunderstorms over in parts of California and Nevada and out in the Idaho, a panhandle, and even some is making its way in the Oregon and Northeast Washington, but mostly farther east it's going to get most of this action. Some of these thunderstorms could be severe as well with gusty winds, heavy rain, and substantial hail amounts. But there's also a weak frontal system moving through Washington and northern Oregon right now with some light rain spreading through the area. Really not that much expected, but it's still a welcome sight after having such a dry summer. And as we head into later into meteorological fall, we're going to keep getting a couple more systems and generally not that much rain expected with them. But it's still a welcome sight, and cooler weather instead of heat waves and stuff is definitely welcome. And you can see our next system kind of brewing out here in the North Pacific. Little smaller scale low pressure systems are also spinning with it as well, which is pretty cool. So let's look at the European model, the height anomaly. This just shows where troughs and ridges are. Ridges generally have nicer and warmer weather under them, and the troughs, the blue, are generally stormier and unsettled weather that usually brings precipitation, sometimes wind as well as we go into the winter months. But as I let this scroll, you can see that this this troughing opens up for over much of the West Coast, allowing cooler and weather to move in. Generally, not that much precipitation, as I've already said, but it's still a welcome sight. And then it looks like this is the European model, and it's showing another trough coming in around the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. That kind of pushes out. It shows some more weak troughing trying to move in later in the week, but the signal is not entirely there. And if we head over to the GFS, let's see if it agrees with what the European model is saying. In the short term, they're always going to be correct and like in a line with each other because they kind of have the same starting position of what the atmosphere is like. So, but differences usually grow between models as you go farther into the future, as they are created by different companies. So usually there's a different variations in how they forecast the weather and how they predict it. So as we're going to the Tuesday, Wednesday trough, it's really there on both models, which is to be expected because that's only a few days out. But as you can see, there's a little bit of ridging that starts to pop up at the end of the week on the GFS, and that system doesn't really make it as far inland. It weakens a lot. And then the GFS tries to build this ridge right over the area, maybe another small weak trough that comes through, but really it builds that ridge in, unlike the European model, which kind of just allows more troughing in. So that definitely the models start to disagree at that time range. That's generally past 6 days out, which forecast reliability drops significantly after 5 days. So, but going back to today, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight and marginal risk for severe weather in the interior mountain west. Some of that, it kind of goes towards California, but really far in the Nevada, Southwest Oregon, and the Utah and southern Idaho are really in the main threats. If we go up here, we can tell that this is mostly hail and wind driven, so tornadoes are not really likely with these severe thunderstorms, but wind and some potentially larger sized hail is possible out in these areas. But thunderstorms will also be possible farther in the central Oregon, the Cascades, and parts of eastern Washington, but really they're kind of out of the main the main event. Let's go over the European model lightning flash density. This kind of just shows how much lightning is really expected with these storms, and you can see that the Salt Lake City west is really the hot spot today with the severe thunderstorms, and generally everywhere from Montana down the California border with Nevada. There's lots of thunderstorms, and they kind of just drift off in this northeast direction. And there's even some popping up in eastern Washington on this model later this evening. And the Storm Prediction Center definitely shows that as well. This is nice graph from the National Weather Service of Pendleton, Oregon, showing that these thunderstorms will have the potential for flash flooding caused by excessive rainfall. It's not a huge chance of this, but it's enough to warrant some moderate risk levels of needing to be prepared for this. And they have some nice flood driving tips and travel plans to make sure that you turn around and don't drown, because on roads you really don't know how deep the water is, and a foot or two of water can sweep vehicles away, and that is not something we want to happen or you want to happen to your vehicle. And let's look at the general precipitation amounts as we go through the beginning of this week. Generally, there's heavier amounts over the Cascades of the Sierra Nevada of California. Sorry about that. And going into the Nevada and the interior mountain west, Idaho, getting a general precipitation from the thunderstorms. As we scroll through, you can see some precipitation start to pop up for the Washington and Oregon Cascades down there as a weak system moves through. And as we go through Wednesday, some more precipitation tries to pop up, but it's a relatively dry system. And this is the European model, by the way. Forgot to say that. And as we go a little bit later in the week, it's relatively dry. The European model shows another system coming in late next week, but that's kind of too far out to really have any accuracy. And let's zoom in a little farther into the Pacific Northwest. Generally, there's the thunderstorms down here in Nevada, Southwest Oregon, some in Idaho. There's some activity earlier this morning that actually was near the Portland metro area that generated a lot of lightning out there. And as we go through this afternoon, this is about now, as of the recording of this video, thunderstorms starting to move into Idaho and it's continuing in Nevada, so lots of rain out there. That's why the flash flooding risk is out there. And watch in Western Washington as we get into the evening. You can see this little frontal system start popping up, some precipitation up near Island County areas, the San Juan County areas up here in Northwest Washington. This is kind of associated with some convergent zone activity as winds wrap around the Olympic Mountains and converge, creating some uplift in precipitation. Generally, that should be weak though, but light rain is expected in around the Puget Sound area this evening. The convergence zone starts moving a little farther south. And rain and thunderstorms still continuing in parts of Idaho, Nevada, and Southwest Oregon. So really a lot of rain for some locations wherever the thunderstorms trail over. And as we go into Monday, really all the rain thunderstorms activity moves well off east. Oregon and Washington and California really rain free for Monday. So other than some clouds, of some nice days possibly. As we head into Tuesday, according to the NAM, really dry almost everywhere. Tuesday looks to be kind of the nicest day at the beginning of this week, and even this model only goes out 60 hours, so we can't look at the Wednesday system. Still some general light rain is possible with that. And let's look at the Climate Prediction Center. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and generally much of the West Coast is supposed to be above average, but this is kind of getting that range. The 6 to 10 ranges when accuracy starts dropping, but forecasts can still be correct this far out, but we still need to watch because some more troughs can move in and some blue and low temperature readings could start popping up over here in the west. So we're just gonna have to watch that. And if we scroll down, they have the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Generally dry for much of the west, but that doesn't include the thunderstorms today and tomorrow. So that's why it's not really showing above average precipitation chances, but kind of normal along some of the coastal areas as some troughs may move into the area. So some normal precipitation amounts may be expected with that. And here's the 14-day temperature outlook. This goes into that mid-September. Generally do the same pattern, but this is even farther out. So only take this with a grain of salt, because there's some troughs that could be moving through in this time range, and we really don't know for sure yet. As we scroll down again, there's more relatively dry weather for the Pacific Northwest, but once again, we may have some troughs moving through this time range, so take this with a grain of salt as well. Well, that's kind of what I got for right now. Thank you for watching through the whole video, and I hope you enjoyed it. There's still some mic issues that I kind of need to work out, but hopefully that will get better as I do more videos and kind of understand all this video and YouTube recording stuff. But if you really enjoyed this, please hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button to help support the channel. And also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos coming out. And thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you in the next video.